Tactical, focused, just like a top producer. Here's a sample from this week's Friday Focus on KGCI, Real Estate on Air.
Hello, everybody. It's Marguerite Crespillo, and it is time for Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the cool people. And today, of course, is no exception because we have the amazing Tina Caul. It's funny, I met her a while back, and we ended up getting to have dinner together with her and her husband and our friend Gail. And I think we talked for 2.5 hours. I don't know. None of us could shut up. It was so much fun. So I adore her. So introducing Tina Caul, a trailblazing realtor and visionary leader with a remarkable 2-decade career at the helm of Caul Group Residential, the unrivaled #1 resale real estate team in the Triangle, North Carolina. Tina's influence extends far beyond her local market. She's earned a coveted top 3 position at eXp Realty out of 90,000 realtors, and secured a spot in The 1,000, a prestigious national ranking program. Selling 130 homes annually, surpassing the national average by leaps, Caul Group Residential is poised to exceed 1,000 homes sold in 2023 under her guidance. Insane. Beyond her exceptional sales achievements, Tina shines as a celebrated national speaker and esteemed thought leader, sharing stages with luminaries like Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone. Her magnetic presence has graced prestigious publications such as the New York Times. She's been recognized as one of Success Magazine's top 25 most influential leaders. Tina's impact transcends business. As a passionate mentor and coach, she leads Get Access Global, a community of over 1,200 agents dedicated to championing collaboration and financial freedom, leaving an indelible mark on the real estate industry, one exceptional success at a time. Please welcome my beautiful friend, Tina Caul.
Hello, Miss Marguerite.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to get together with you. I'm reading your bio. I'm like, holy schmoly. I already knew you were impressive, but of course, when I read your bio, it's even more.
I was listening to you. I'm like, who is this person? Because that's a really nice bio. And that's not me. Oh, I love it.
Well, you know what I love? I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and it seems like it would be the opposite than it is, but it seems the more successful people are and the higher they rise, the more accessible they are in a lot of ways, and the more real and humble they are. Like they're the most willing, like you're one of the most willing people who is willing to share anything, anytime, anywhere. Like it's never a question. And I just found that really, I think I've always known that, but it was interesting when I was talking to this friend of mine and talking about it, because it seems like it would be the opposite, doesn't it?
It's funny because so many people, when they meet me, like they'll come into my office and be like, can I share something? And after they meet me, and I'm like, of course. And they're like, you're nothing like I thought you would be. And I'm like, what did you think? She's like, you know what they say. And I'm like, who are they and what do they say? So I think it's just, I think that people expect you to have, I don't know. I just am this little Greek girl from Detroit is how I see myself, who got C's and D's in school and found my way on the planet. And I'm still just a learner. And so I think when you're always in learner mode, nobody ever feels like they've arrived. And then you hear the paragraphs that they write about you, which are meant to sound really fancy and exciting. And it's still, I got room to grow.
Well, I thought I saw something that said you have some Italian in you too.
I do. I still identify more with my Greek side because I speak Greek fluently. And my mother is Italian, so I'm 50-50. But my mother married my father, of course, and then she learned Greek. She got a tutor and she learned Greek, and then she taught us. So we absolutely grew up 100% Greek. Greek food, wow. Greek music, Greek mother. They even renamed her Marguerite. Her name is Domenica, and they baptized her Maria. So my mother identified as a Greek as well, until they got a divorce because it was two hot heads, and now she's Italian.
Yeah. It's funny because my father was full-blooded Italian, and my mother was just like mutt, like a mix of like French and Swiss and German or whatever. And so very different personalities. And I remember growing up, my mom would say, you're yelling at me all the time. And I was like, I'm not yelling at all. I didn't understand it. I thought there was something wrong with me. And because my father wasn't in the picture, until I went to Italy, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just Italian.
I'm just exactly right. And they're loud. And it's funny. It's passion. And my husband will say that to me now. He's like, why are you yelling? I'm like, who is yelling? I'm not yelling. I'm just talking loud because I'm excited. I'm excited about this stuff.
I know. It's so crazy. So your husband too is pretty amazing. And you guys were like high school sweethearts, right?
Yeah, I met him. Thank God. I always say there was four major shifts in my life. Number one, of course, when I was born, but when I met my life partner at 16, when I became a mother at 23, when I met Mike Ferry, my real estate coach, when I was 30, and then when I moved to EXP Realty in 2019. Those are the four major life shifts.
Oh, wow. That's great to know. So
Yeah.
16 years old, what were you
Yeah.
thinking? You just saw him and he was cute?
We both were at different schools, funny story. And I went to this career prep center. I decided to go off the high school campus to an early childhood development class. And so I was able to work with young children. It was wonderful. And I met some of his friends from his high school there. And I had just broken up with my Italian boyfriend and I was distraught. And I thought the world was ending. And they said, "Oh my God, we have the perfect guy for you." And so, anyway, long story short, we were driving down 14-mile road and I saw my friends in their little pickup truck. And back then there were no cell phones. And I turned into a 7-Eleven. They followed me into the 7-Eleven and he jumped out of the truck. And the minute he saw me, he knew I was the one. And the minute I saw him, I was like, "Who is this weirdo?" And then we talked, we exchanged phone numbers. And we talked for 4 hours and we named our two children, which I only have one, but we named two children on the phone that day. And ever since we've been inseparable.
Oh, wow. That's a crazy story. How cool
Yeah,
is that?
it's fun.
What, I mean, so now you guys have been together how long?
Like 30 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, Joe and I, it was 38 years this year we've been together. But
Yep.
I met him when I was 22, I was a little older. And
Yeah.
then I sent you my book, right?
I did. And I read it and it's amazing. It's an amazing
Oh,
book. And I tell people about that book where you say, when you every day you would wake up and say something nice about him to reprogram your brain. And Kevin and I are into that, manifesting, and your words are powerful. And anytime I meet couples that are having a challenge, I always say, "My friend Marguerite, she wrote this book. There's this exercise you can do." And they look at me like, "That sounds so lame." I'm like, "Well, try it." How can you hate someone that you say nice things about every single day? And I think it works. And I actually had used that. I'll give you a quick little story. When Kevin and I were married, I'm not as messy as he is. And so his side of the bed would always be messy and my side was always clean. He'd leave his shoes and his clothes and we'd bicker about it because I'd say, "Clean up your clothes." And then one day it dawned on me. I'm like, gosh, if he would have married a messier woman, they never would have this conversation because they cohabitate in this household. So because of me and my OCD, he gets to have this annoyance in his life. And so I thought to myself, if he wasn't here, I would miss the mess. And so I started to just program my brain about his mess. And now I don't mind it.
What's funny is I was talking to somebody about what are little things that are sexy and that are not the normal. And to me, I always thought that it was so sexy to see Joe's dress shoes under the bed.
Oh, really?
And I was like, that's so cool. It just looked cool to just see his little dress, like not little, but his dress shoes under the bed. Cause I like seeing cause Joe always used to dress to the nines. He was always in suits and his shoes were always perfect. And he's probably the opposite. I'm a little messier than he is. He does his own laundry cause he doesn't like the way I do laundry.
Right. I love it. I love it. That's true.
So
now think of his nightstand as sexy. Oh, it's so sexy over there. Yeah, I love it.
Well,
I love it.
let me ask you this. So you've been now a little over 20 years in real estate, right? Is it what you said? How long you been? 20 years?
24 years, yeah.
And how did you actually get into real estate? What got you to get into real estate?
I was a lost college student. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I took some acting classes. I took some English classes, psychiatry. And then Kevin and I decided we wanted to buy our first investment house. My parents flipped houses, and so they helped us find one. We bought it and we thought, wow, that was really cool. Our realtor really loved the experience with me. And she kept saying, you would be good at this. Cause I did all my research and I would find things. I knew like the borders of different cities. And you would be good at this. And I was like, no, I'm not a salesperson. And she chased me down. They ended up paying for my license. And that's how I got licensed. So I was 23 years old. And my first day in real estate was 9/11. I was driving to work when the towers got hit. And everybody was pulling out of contracts. It was a really hectic first week at work. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
And so how did you go from selling real estate to then deciding to build a team or to do, you said one of the impactful moments in your life was when you met Tom Ferry. Why was that? Mike
So
Ferry.
yep. So it's Tom's dad, actually. So for the first 6 years of my career, I always say I was the average agent. I learned whatever I learned off being a sponge and whatever people would teach me, because as in the real estate industry, people are not collaborators, we're competitors. And I was competing against my own broker who was in full production. And so then the crash hit in 2006. We started to crash in Michigan a little bit earlier. By 2007, I went from making 150,000 a year to 40,000. That was not good. And I had built a $150,000 lifestyle with my husband, and he was making 150,000. So we got in the car one day, and I remember I had this sheet of paper that I had years ago that in my file, and it said, earn $500,000 as a real estate agent, take our coaching. And it was Mike Ferry coaching. He was coming to town. So at that time, we were all freaking out, losing money, not putting deals together. We all got in the car, a few of my agents' friends, and we went to this action workshop. And we met a bunch of different agents there. And one of the agents, the best agent in my market, happened to be there. And I thought, why the heck is she here? She outpaces everybody. And then the light bulb went off. Oh, she's doing this coaching. And so I couldn't afford it, but I took out my credit card and I signed up for $1,000 a month coaching. What that taught me was how to call expireds and for sale by owners and actually make phone calls and learn scripts and dialogue and be a very proactive agent. Every time I came to the office, I had something to do versus just letting the day happen to me. So Mike taught me how to basically pick up the phone, and I could move to any town USA and I could become a great agent because I knew how to get in front of sellers. I knew how to present and I knew how to close. And from there, my real estate sales took off. And we actually moved from North Michigan in 2008 to North Carolina in 2009. And I restarted my entire career as a solo agent. And within 4 years, I was selling 130 homes a year and the wheels were falling off. And that's when I had to build a team out of necessity, not so much I wanted to lead or build a team.
What made you decide to move to North Carolina?
Sunshine.
Oh,
So in Michigan, Kevin and I had seasonal depression, we would say. By September, it was freezing again in Michigan, and you didn't see the sun till the next April. Like it would be very sporadic. So it was like a permacloud for 8 to 7 months. And we thought, you know what? I would fly out to San Diego in January for the Superstar Retreat. And I would come back and say, honey, there's another part of the world where people actually don't have to live in the cold. And they actually are happy and there's sunshine. Like we are not trees. We can move. And so being from an Italian Greek family, you don't leave your family. So we got the guilt and the don't go and you're going to ruin your lives. And you're doing so well here because we had raised our income after the coaching. We got back to that $150,000, $200,000 a year. So we left pretty much $250,000 salaries on the table, or not salaries, but income. And we packed it up and moved for sunshine. But we wanted to plant our roots where we wanted to be so our son would be raised where we wanted to retire, really.
So when you started to build a team, I think teams are overrated in some ways and underrated in others. Everybody wants to build a team, but I feel like if you are not a good leader, you might not be a great team leader or team manager. So how did you develop those skills, or what made you really decide to get it to build and grow a team?
So it wasn't an overnight decision. So I still say, I jokingly will say, I look back and go, why are all these people still following me? I still feel like an imposter every day. I don't feel, when people say leader, I almost hate that word because I'm like, it's just so not in me to be like, I'm the leader. What happened was, instead of me being solo lone wolf, I had to think, okay, if it's up to, if it's to be, it's up to we, and I needed help. And so my first reaction was, let me get partners and have them help me by taking all the buyers away from me. And then I could have a little bit of my time back. So I went from an entrepreneurial mindset to CEO mindset, meaning usually I would say, gosh, I have, 12 hours in the day. How am I going to get all of this done? Versus if I hire 3 or 4 or 5 people times 8 hours, now I have 40 hours in the day. How much more time could I have 40 hours times 5 days a week is way more than just Tina Caul working 10-hour days. So I think that I started to understand leverage, and I don't know that I was good with communication and good with people, because I love people and I'm just a nice person and I'm not a micromanager. I hired people and I said, here you go. You do all the deals now for listings. You do all the buy side transactions. All I wanted to do was negotiate, talk to people, negotiate, and show up at closing and do my job on the transactional side. Their job was to do all the paperwork, the organization, the files, all the things I hated to do, all that tenacity work. I needed it off my plate. And when I hired the right people, they took it and left. I never micromanaged them. I'm like, here's the systems we need. You guys figure them out and implement them. So I wasn't a control freak. I think a lot of agents are control freaks and they don't want to scale because they want their hands in everything. And as I started to see that I got more of my time back, I was able to take that time and go to more retreats and study more team leaders and study more teams and start to see the gaps, because I'm an observer of my environment. I like to ask a lot of questions. I like to see where the gaps are and then decide based on my gut and intuition, is this something that would benefit my team? And once I said, yes, that's the answer, then I would go ahead and implement fast and messy. And so that's the key. I like to implement, follow my gut, test, fail, decide what did I learn from that failure, and then relaunch the plan again with maybe a little bit more redirection. So when I hired my first agent partner, Laura, who's still with me today after 11 years, we just knocked it out. We started selling and she took all the buyers. I took the sellers. Then I hired Leslie. Then I hired Ashley, who's still with me today. And I started to see that it was fantastic to help build others' lives because I had so much opportunity to give. And then I think by the time I had 5 agents, I looked and said, I got to start running meetings. I should probably have a manual for this stuff. And I went out and I left Remax and I went to KW because KW had the team building vibe. They had the red book and I read the red book and I thought, okay, I need to find somebody who's led teams. So my first hire was a woman that had led pharmaceutical teams. And so I said, hey, we're going to do this together. You're going to go recruit and bring some agents on and train them and run sales meetings and put our operational manuals together. I'll still keep selling. And we did that for a few years. We got the team to about 12 agents. She ended up moving and going to the beach. And then I ended up going to EXP and we hired another team leader, operational person. And we started to grow the team because we got our Zillow Flex account. And Zillow gives you a lot of leads. So I had a lot of opportunity. My last day in sales was it's 2024. It was 2022 is my last 2.5 years ago. I sold my last house and I've never looked back. So I don't care if it's a $3 million listing. I'm not taking the listing. I don't care. Which is wonderful.
I can only imagine. That's wonderful. I'm trying to make progress in that direction myself, but I feel like I'm starting over from scratch. The difference for me is you went down the Mike Ferry route. I literally 3 months after getting into real estate, got a postcard about never having to cold call. And it was Joe Stump's by referral. And so I was in his program for 12 years. It was amazing. And how I built my business is the majority of my business is referral all these years. And then of course I ended up going into REO because that was the market. So I did a ton of REO. And then coming out of that REO ether, we had to go back to the relationship and rebuilding those. And so my dilemma is that I know so many of these people so well, so personally, because I've been so relationship driven. Mm-hmm. Like one of the clients I'm working with right now, I sold their parents a home. So now I'm selling the kids a home. So I've struggled a little bit with how to pass that off or hand that off or let somebody else handle those. I guess maybe that's the control freak side in me. In starting to rebuild a team again, I'm really trying to be more methodical, a little bit more methodical about it. And what might that look like to bring somebody on? Like how much time did you spend with that first person you brought on? Were they brand new? Were they newer or did they already have experience? What did that look like?
So Laura was experienced. She had, I think, 3 years experience at the time. And so, my hair was on fire, Marguerite, when I hired her. I was selling over 130 homes. And I was like, you need to take these buyers. So every seller I had, she got. when they were ready to buy. I think for me, the passing of the torch was hard when I was ready to finally hang up the shoes, the showing shoes and the listing shoes. It was if they trusted me to work with them. And I've had people, my first sale ever, which was 24 years ago, they live in Virginia now. They called me a few years ago and said, "We wish you were here." And and I'm like, "Guys, you'll survive." And so I got them a referral. I'm the same way, very relational. But if they trusted you, they'll trust you again when you hand over their deal, their transaction to the person that you recommend. And it's just you recommending that person to say, "Listen, I'm at a different point in my life. I have a partner. She's way better than me. If you love me, you're going to really love her. I'm still invested. I'm just here at base camp and she's out in the field." That's how we get so much done. And it's better for you because here's why. We get to sell double the amount of homes, which means we have double the amount of case studies, which means we have double the amount of experience, which means you are going to net more money because we know what's truly going on in the market versus having a few deals here and there. Does that make sense? And they're like,
Okay.
"Yes, that makes sense." The other thing you can think about is a lot of my friends and peers right now are not doing teams, and they're building teams of referral partners, meaning if you get 3 or 4 agents and you say, "Hey, I'm still base camp. I'm going to talk to my clients. I'm going to know everything about them. I'm going to do all the negotiations. You're in the field and I'm going to give you 15 to 20% of every single transaction, buy side or sale side. And you're just going to be my field agents. Go out and take a video of the property, go out and do whatever you need to do." You're still keeping the bulk of the commissions, which are very deserving for you because you've spent 20 plus years of your life building those commissions and that career. And this way you're handing 10%, 15%, 20% of your business. When you think about it, have you watched Shark Tank?
I have, but not in a while. I need to watch it again.
Okay, so if I'm in Shark Tank and you're a shark, the shark people that come in and they do the deals, they say, "Hey, sharks, I have this business. I'm going to give you 8%, 10%. You rarely see 15, 20, or 50%. Nobody comes in and says, "I'll give you half of my business." Yet as real estate agents, we come in and we're team leaders and everyone expects half of our business because they're servicing it. But yet they don't put weight on the 15, 20 years it took to get the client and build
Love
the
that.
business. So when you think about it, listings for us, we pay 35% on a listing because the agent is doing less work. They've got 10 hours in the deal versus 20, 30, 40. But that's what I tell my agents. You're getting half of my business. When team leaders are saying, "I'll give you 70% of my business," that is unheard of. 70%. So you could really reverse that and say, "No, I'm keeping the relationship. You're servicing. And based on that, I'll take all the other calls, but you're going to service and get less." And that way you've got salespeople that are salaried, pay $100,000 salary, and they work all your back end of your listings. They're doing all the front facing stuff. To get somebody to come in and work a 6-figure salary, easy breezy. It's guaranteed money. So that's another way you can transition, because I think it is hard for somebody like you to just give up half of your business after you've worked your butt off for 20 years plus years.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question was, now that you have stepped out as of 2022, how has your life changed?
I'll backtrack it to when we moved over to our firm. I saw an opportunity to build community. And as you're at the same firm, we're able to build communities and help our agents ascend from agent to CEO to community builder. And so because of the network of 1,500 agents that we've built, and now we have a team of, I call it a teamridge, a brokerage that functions as a team. We have a team of 52 agents. My life is different. I'm here at the lake today. I have time freedom. I have location freedom. I don't ever have to answer my phone when I'm at dinner with friends. And whenever I go to dinner with realtors, I'm like, "Gosh, you guys are so annoying." I get to watch them, Marguerite, and I'm so sad because that was 22 years of my life. Interruption, never being present. And my husband used to complain about it all the time. And I go, "This is my job." But he just wanted time and focus. And now when I get to look at these peers of mine who work with me, I feel sad inside and I go, "Gosh, it doesn't need to be that way." But it is. And I think that I would probably train agents to scale faster, to divide the workflow faster, to bring on agent partners faster, because if it's to be, it's up to we, not me.
I like that. I've never heard it said that way. I've always heard it's up to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is the title of community builder mean to you? What does that look like to you?
I think for me, when I first got to our firm, it was, gosh, okay, I have all this knowledge to share. I was the got a minute girl at my office. Hey, got a minute? And of course, I always had minutes to share, but I never got paid for those minutes. And so what I was able to do is take 10 years, 15, 25 years of knowledge and be able to share it with others and open up my playbook and say, hey, let's all work together. If you join me in this partnership, here's where I'm going. There's my North Star. And it's called freedom. And it's called building faster. It's a faster forward movement where we can get there and not have to take the 20-year bumps that I took. And I could get somebody where I am instead of 24 years, maybe in 10 or 12. Maybe a 10-year agent that's really successful could get somebody there in 3 or 4. And so it was this ability to download our brain, gift it to others, and they could take that information and run. And the reward is that we would connect them with tools at our company. And then the company would reward us being middle management because we're the ones leading these networks, these communities. And then our company rewards us with compensation. And I think it's a beautiful thing that our company says, hey, I'm going to pay the most badass real estate agents on the planet to build this company versus the company having to go find employees to do it. So I think that it's a beautiful thing and it's a great concept and it works.
As I mentioned, I've been here, little over 8 years, I think it has been. And I joined October of 2016, the week after Brent did. So I joined pretty quickly. And it's definitely been an amazing ride. I've not seen anything like it. And what I hear all the time, the part that I love the most is the collaboration, is the ability to pick up the phone and talk to someone like you and the level you're at, and or some of these different agents around the company that are so willing to share and open their playbook. It doesn't ever really feel it's competition. It doesn't feel like if I call you, you're going to be worried that I'm going to steal your stuff or anything like that. And I never really had that before because I owned my own brokerage and I couldn't go to another company. I couldn't go to Keller Williams or Century 21 or Coldwell Banker and say, hey, I need some help. Would you guys be willing to share? They'd be like looking at me like I was smoking crack or something.
Yeah.
So it's such a different dynamic. And I feel like I've learned so much while I've been here, way more than I had the prior 22 years. But now I'm seeing a little bit of a shift in the way things are. I'm seeing more of, which I'm happy for, to see more women rising and more women leading. And I guess I'm wondering a little bit, what is your plan and your goal for the future now that you're out of production, so to speak, and you're community builder with your organization? What is really next for you? What does that look like?
So I think I'm living my next, and I'm this person where the minute I see my passion meter start to wane, I know it's time to redirect. And so what happened for me is I woke up 17 years into this business and I was not passionate about it anymore. I didn't want to go see sellers and buyers. I truly was like, I like y'all, thank you, but that's it for me. Peace out. And I was going to go buy a mobile home park and try to go into more development and investments. And then I found EXP and I was able to build communities, and that reinvigorated me. I was like, oh my God, I've been here 5 years. I got to build these communities. And what's happened is we've built so many leaders, heart-centered leaders that are taking the baton and they're building their communities. And so I'm not as needed. I was showing up every single week like a crazy person for the first 3-4 years to build it. And now they're building it. They're building their own. And so I think what's next for me, Marguerite, is to try to figure out, how do I spend as much time with my husband, with my son, traveling, truly being I'm a curious human being, and I love to travel. And I love doing stuff like this. I love just giving back. When people seek you out to do something, you must be pretty decent at it, is what one of my coaches said. Because I said, oh, I hate speaking. I don't want to speak. He goes, are people asking you to speak? I said, yeah. And he said, then they see something, so you may as well do it. And I just go, all right, fine. So I love doing this one-to-one. I love our team. I still love that. I have wonderful team leaders running it. And I think I'll probably always be in some sort of realm where I can just give back and poke holes in things and give advice. I love that. So I don't know where the next 5 years will go, but right now I'm enjoying this ride and I haven't gotten bored yet. My passion meter is still at about an 85%. So once it hits below 60, time for a redirect.
Got to reevaluate. So what do you, our last question as we wrap up a little bit today, what do you love about leadership or community building, whichever word you want to choose? And what would you say are the biggest challenges to making that happen?
So my husband always says people ruin everything. And I think that what he means by that is the wrong people can ruin things. And when you think about humans, I love all of them, but I'm very careful who I give my time to because I don't know what work they've done in their own life. Every human is born into a tribe, and that tribe has different mentalities, different training, different ideals. Ideally, I'm an idealist. Everyone's happy. Everyone's this, everyone's that. I'm never mad. I'm always I'm just always just built that way. I don't know why my dad's that way. But when you let different people into your life, when you're leading, now you bring their baggage, their mess, their insecurities. And sometimes you're around people where your energy is shining too bright and theirs might be a different energy level. And this happens. And so I've learned that not everybody is going to be in your path forever. I've had to learn to let people go. I've had to learn that people come into your life and they can leave your life and it's okay. As long as I've left their life better, meaning with some mentorship, with some ideas, some advice, I've done my job. So I think the hardest thing for me about leading multiple people is the multiple personalities. You have to get good at assessing who these people are, what makes them tick, how are you coming across to them, and really become even more versatile in the way that you are acting. And what I would say finally is self-leadership. How do you lead self? Who is Marguerite? What makes her tick? Why does she do the things she does? What are her behavioral styles? Because once you understand yourself, then you can go, okay, I'm this way. How is this other person showing up? And how do I have to then be somebody different for this person until they can understand who I am and I understand who they are? So it's tricky. It's really tricky. And I think it's not for everyone, to be honest. I think some people are meant to.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Okay, so one last thing. What's your favorite book out right now?
Oh, my favorite book. Oh my gosh. I think for me, there's a book that it's High Road Leadership and 5 Levels of Leadership by.
I'm reading those exact books, John Maxwell.
Yeah. John Maxwell. Thank you. So I'm in a John Maxwell, vibe right now because I love his the way he speaks. I just love everything about him. So John Maxwell.
Well, I grabbed 5 Levels of Leadership because of you. You posted something. Okay. We were on a call together. Can't remember what we were doing, but we were on a group call and you mentioned that, and you posted the picture, the graphic that shows the 5 levels of leadership. And I immediately got that book and I've been listening to it on audio and reading it because I love the levels where,
yeah,
I don't know all of them right now, but it helps you to see where are you at right now and what do you need to do to rise up that ladder of leadership.
Yeah. And I love that it talks about you have positional leadership with some people, you have legacy leadership with some people, depending on where and when you met them in your journey. And it really helps people understand and be able to visualize, gosh, how am I showing up with this person versus this person? And then the other book I would say is The Working Genius by Pat Lencioni. It is probably the most profound, and I'll be teaching this when I come and do our thing in Sacramento, but it's the most profound assessment I've ever seen, talking about work as a 6-letter word. And it talks to you about your geniuses, your 2 geniuses versus others, and how you need to stay 80% of your work day should be in your genius flow. And it's the easiest assessment to be able to place people in roles. And then also for families and children and all of it. It's amazing. So you should take the test.
I got to write it down. Hold on. What's the name of the book again?
It's The Working Genius by Pat Lencioni. And if you do your Working Genius test, Marguerite, I will give you an assessment on it because I'm a licensed facilitator now. I love it so much. I went and got licensed to do it. It's so fun.
All right. Pat, how do you spell his last name?
Lencioni.
Okay.
I think, yeah, how it sounds. You can just
Well,
Google it.
I love tests. I did the disc profile. I've done them all. The disc. Yeah, I was a high DI on the disc, right?
Yeah, that's what I am, a BI. That's why we like each other.
Exactly. Get to the point.
That's right. Get to the point, lady. Oh, yeah. I love it.
I'm so grateful to have had you here today, and I literally cannot wait for you to come out in September and give you a big hug. And I'm going to get that book and do that test. And I wish you so much success right now. I'm watching your star shine very bright right now. So enjoy that ride.
Thank you. And you too. You are amazing. So I'm so glad to know you. And I can't wait to see you and go out to dinner.
I know. I can't wait. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again on Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the cool people. Be sure to follow us and like us and give us a review. It helps rank us up in the ratings. And be sure to reach out if you know somebody great you'd love for us to talk to. We would love to talk to them too. Go out and make it an amazing day. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we talk with masters and leaders in the real estate industry and beyond on how we can raise the bar in our industry. Please subscribe over on iTunes, and while you're there, be sure to give us a review. Your reviews encourage us and help others to find our podcast for show notes and hot topics on what's going on right now in our real estate industry. Also, hop on over to www.realestaterealworld.com and add your name to our email to get early advance notice of upcoming podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and go out there and be a part of the elite masterclass and raising the bar on the real estate industry.